Hi, Trevella. I'm taking a look at your project. Make sure that so here you start with a timeline, and it's wool stone craft, not woolen craft. And I appreciate the fact that you're giving us an introduction, saying that you're going to elaborate on these experiences of her life and how they influenced, I would say, how they influenced, her work of Frankenstein, is maybe be that a little more specific. But you can't give this much information and this much text and not go over it in your slide. So you need to be going over that as well. Again, make sure you always have it as woolstone craft. This slide is very hectic with a lot of different colors, and I'm not always sure where I should be looking. And it seems like you start off with one type of slide, like you've got these gray slides, and then all of a sudden you go to these black and white ones, and then you've got this sort of rusty color, and this take out, and then you go back to gray, and you're talking about poetry, and then you've got this slide, which is completely different again, and then you've got these purple slides, and then again this slide, very different look to it, very busy, very difficult to follow. And so I would say you need to get some consistency in your presentation. And as you're going through it, so this is talking about like her growing up. But these are her parents. So I'm like, should that be before her growing up? It's, again, I have issues with organization. I'm not always following you very well. Then you talk about Fanny, which is her mother's first child. Then her step siblings. And then her half-brother. So, all right. Talking about her parental influences. I mean, I would also talk about, how she was educated. You've got, I think, some of that here. But there's a lot more that went on with her education. Okay. So making these connections, you've got so much going on one slide. Again, break this, like too much, it's too confusing. Break these things into their own slides. And you're just barely making the connections, right? But there's no analysis happening, and that's what a lot of people are doing. They're identifying the connections, but they're not analyzing them. So make sure you watch the video I posted in the announcements, which talks about how to do that, and make sure in our D2L site under Learning Materials, Ancestor project, there's all kinds of stuff in there, including a sample project. And if you download that sample project, then you can actually like open it up and see the notes and see how it works. And I suggest you go over all that stuff, because your analysis is just, it's not really there. You are identifying them, but identifying the connections, but you're not analyzing them. And then here you really don't have anything. There's no narration. There's nothing. So I'm not quite sure why this is even there. So all of these need to be their own. Here, I'd say break those out into their own slides. Go very, very deep with the analysis. That's the biggest section of this project. It's worth the most points in the project. If you have questions about what I'm telling you in this video, or about any of the other materials that you have to work with, let me know. And if you need any additional information or you have questions, please be sure to get a hold of me.